Good morning, YouTube fans. This is Cliff, DI Wiley's Fix It and Repairs. Got a task today to clean and repair and lube my 750 Honda Shadow Spirit. Try to clean and repair and re-lube these chains. You periodically need to do that, approximately 5 to 6, 700 miles every time you drive 5, 6, 700 miles, or even if you get caught in the rain. It's a good idea to lube your chain periodically in order to enhance your longevity of your chain, so that you won't have to actually spend as much money as possible. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do throughout this short tutorial, to try to give you guys some assistance in saving some money for the most part, because I think that's what we all need to try to do as much as possible nowadays. But I've got a basic chain on here, and let me educate some of you guys, and even myself for the most part, that on the different type chains and sprockets that you may have on your particular bike. There's two different type chains. One's just a regular plain Jane chain, and the other one's called a seal chain. Now on this particular bike here, we happen to have a seal chain. Now seal chains basically that it has like O-rings, what they actually call O-rings, within these clips right here, that kind of retains the lubricant when you oil a chain and lube it. It retains the lubricant within the chain, opposed to just a regular plain steel chain, which you can use to clean it, gasoline or what have you. But on a seal chain, you would actually need to be very careful about what you clean it with and lube it with. This is a particular seal O-ring chain, and we're going to use a certain product that I purchased at the store to actually clean the chain. But first, what you want to do typically is inspect your chain and check for the studs and the mushroom bits, and make sure they all mushroom down to the point, and make sure there's no damage upon your chain. You also want to check the master link, which is right here. And the master link is normally identified as a different type link on one of these parts within the chain. The rest of them are pretty much has your studs and they're mushroom down. There again, I mentioned check those and make sure there's not any loose play. Also, you also want to check your free play in your chain. It may need adjusting periodically over a length of time riding your bike. And you will always want to check and make sure that your chain does not have too much free play in it. That will also damage your chain. This particular Honda requires 3/4 inch free play. This seems to be okay. It's not too bad. It does not need adjusting right now. So what we'll probably go ahead and start doing, the short story short, we'll go ahead and start lubing this. And what I purchased at the store to try to assist me in this project, I've purchased two items from Maxima Racing Oils. One is a cleaner chain oil, a lubricant, and then one is a chain wax. And I'll be using both of these along with a bristle brush. You don't necessarily want to use a steel brush, because this is a fairly delicate chain, and you don't want to damage the O-rings by using a steel brush. On a regular steel chain, everyday chain, you can use a steel brush to remove some of the dirt and grime and grit off of your chain. But on this particular chain, you don't really want to use a steel brush. Use a healthy nylon brush. So once we spray some of the lubricant on here, we can kind of assist us in scraping off some of the rust and the dirt and the grime that may form on your chain through a course of a riding time. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this project here, and what I'm gonna do I'm using some of this cleanup from Maxima Racing Oils. I'm going to use it to clean the chain. I'm going to go ahead and put my little assist device in here. And for you guys, I did not mention this at first, that you may want to try to put your bike on a center stand. You can easily do it without it being on a center stand, but it makes it a little bit harder because you actually have to manually move the bike back and forth, and you don't want to have to go through all of that stuff. I mean, this is a fairly simple project, and I think everyone ought to be able to know how to do it, because you really need to do it. If you're a bike rider and bike owner, you really need to perform this process regularly. I don't actually have a center stand, but I use a hydraulic jack and a board, and I've got it propped up on each side so that the bike will keep parallel and level, where that it will not fall on me while I'm trying to perform this process. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do, I'm gonna go ahead and start spraying some of this cleanup as I rotate the tire and the chain around. And I'm gonna use this stuff pretty literally. I'm going to use it fairly heavy, and just kind of continue to spray around as you put lubricant on these chains, so that to release some of the gunk and the buildup of oil that are on these chains. You can't use too much. I mean, it's going to actually drip off. As you can tell, it's dripping off on the side of this cardboard. Of course, I'm using this cardboard because my bike has a white leather tires, so you don't want to damage them, or you don't want to get them all oily and dirty, and that's an extra job that you'll have to do after you've finished this process. So I've actually put a cardboard up here to receive some of the oil and gunk that, as you can tell, is dripping down off of this chain. I'm going to go one more round with it, spraying some of this cleanup on this chain in order to break up a lot of the gunk and stuff that are on the chain. Okay, that should be enough. You actually want to spray your sprocket in here as well. Try to get some of the excess oil and the gunk build up off of that portion. So that should be enough on that part right now. Now what I'm gonna go ahead and do, I'm gonna let it set for a couple of minutes as it kind of soaks in. As you can tell, it's starting to drip off all the black gunk and extra. Chain actually look a little bit better than it did even before I started as well now, and I have not used my brush. So what I'm gonna do very quickly is I'm gonna go around the chain, and I'm gonna try to use the brush on the inside and outside in order to remove some of the extra rust and gunk off of the chain and the sprocket to help clean it up a little bit faster. With my bike off the ground, I'm able to rotate the tire. One thing that I may suggest is to never ever try to have your bike started and in gear and let the tire rotate itself by the gears. That's very, very dangerous. It could be detrimental to your health, could be detrimental to your fingers, certainly. You don't want to try to do that while the bike is running by itself. You can manually do it. It's not going to take that much more time to do it manually opposed to having the vehicle running. So you never want to do that. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is try to use this brush just a little bit as I rotate the tire to remove some of the extra gunk that's on the tire, that's on the chain. Remove a little bit of extra gunk. As I rotate around, you can tell a lot of the extra oils and trash and dirt, all that stuff, rust that's built up on the chain is starting to come off now. So what I want to do, I did the sides, and now I'll go into the bottom. There's my master link chain right here. So once I get back to that point, then I know I would have completed a complete revolution. So I just kind of gently rub the chain around as I remove some of the excess oils and dirt. Okay. And now I think I'm back at my master link, so I've completed at least 2 revolutions. So now what I want to do is go ahead and use some of this cleanup, maximum cleanup again, to try to spray on maybe another revolution, and then I'll do something else after that. I'll just spray some on here as I go around. And this stuff is a dime a dollar. You really can't hurt you using as much as possible. As you can tell, a lot of the excess oil and stuff starting to drip down on this cardboard, which is pretty dirty now. And that's why I actually covered it up so that I won't get it all on my white walls. So I'm gonna go around just a few more times. Okay, it's looking a lot better. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and take a rag and try to dry off. The chain is looking a lot better now. Just spraying that on there and kind of rubbing it, looking a lot better. So now what I want to go ahead and do is, as I rotate the tire, I'm going to use a rag to try to wipe some of the excess gunk and oil and moisture off of the chain before I begin to use my waxing lube, which is from the same company. It's called Maxima Chain Wax. It's a great item. Doesn't cost a whole lot, but I think it costs a lot less. If you don't use something to lube and clean your chain, you'll have to pay quite a bit more money in order to replace your chain. And that's something we're trying to avoid in this day and time. So what I'll do is, with the rag, as I rotate, I'll go around and wipe some of the excess gunk and dirt off of the chain. See that all of that's coming off, and all that's what damages your chain through the course of a time frame in the chain. You want to rub it around, even on your sprocket. You can replace some of that and clean some of that up as well. Just continue going around around maybe 2 revolutions in order to clean some of that gunk and excess oils off of your chain. This chain is not in too bad of a shape, but it hasn't been cleaned in a while, so I don't want to have to buy a chain the next week or the week after. I want to be able to ride. The weather's starting to get a lot better out here, and I just want to ride and enjoy myself without having to spend a lot of money on extra accessories, trying to get it going. So as I go around a couple more times, the chain's looking a lot better. What I may want to do is come under here, under the back side of the chain, and turn it as well and clean it on the back side of it with this rag. What I'm doing is drying the extra and old gunky oil and stuff off before I begin to spray my wax sealant on the chain. Okay, chain's looking a lot better, cleaned up real good. I periodically clean these chains so it's not extremely dirty, but there again, you have to continue to put a little oil and a little lubricant in it, just to kind of assist with your riding. As well, I mean, when you keep the tension right in your chain, have the right tension, and your master links looks good, and it's lubed as it should be lubed, then it will increase your miles per gallon, and it also will increase your maximum speed, your acceleration. And the bike would actually be just a little bit faster if your chain is correctly cleaned and lubricated, and your tension is the right specs, which there again, this one requires 3/4 inch free play, and it looks pretty good, and it's starting to clean up real well. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and remove my little assist thing here, and I'm gonna grab some chain wax. I've dried my chain off quite a bit with the old extra oil and base on. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is go ahead and use some of this Maxima chain wax, chain lubricant. I'll use it and spray it on it, and then I'll wipe the excess off. And then guys, I'd almost be ready to remove all of this accessories, set the bike down, and begin and start my riding process. Begin riding. My camera's starting to fall over on me there a little bit, but bear with me. I'm gonna try to get some assistance next time I make a video and make it a lot easier, rather than trying to have a camera set up, and actually it's my phone, but have a camera set up to try to visually see what I'm doing. But now what I'm gonna go through the same process, and you don't have to use a whole lot of this. You don't really need to overly spray this chain lube wax. It's pretty much sealed into the chain, and with this being a concealed chain with O-rings, the lube kind of sits within the chain O-rings, and they kind of remain in there. And that's what's good about this chain Maxima wax chain lube, that it retains on the chain, so when you begin to ride, it will not sling off and get all your shoes and pants and the rest of the bike sprayed with wax. It pretty much stays on the chain. It tacks to the chain a lot better than some other loose oils, like a regular 10W40 or something like that. So that's why I really advise someone to go to your nearest motorcycle shop and grab some of this Maxima racing oils, which is very good, as well as cleaner. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm here at my master link again. So I'm going to go around maybe 2 revolutions, maybe 1 revolution on the outside, and then I'll go on the back side, or in the middle, and then I'll go on the back side, and then I'll wipe the excess off, and guys, I should be done. Shake it up here a little bit. Go around on the outside. I'm going on the outside with it right now. Let's go 1 complete revolution. That's my master link. And what I'm gonna do is go ahead and go within the middle of the chain and make a complete revolution there. As far as your chain lube. Now the chain lube wax is kind of brown, so you can tell where it's going on fairly well. Okay, there's our master link. Now, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead on to the underside, back side, and spray a little bit. It's kind of hard to get to it because the bike's kind of low on the ground. I'll try to prop it up next time. Just try to make it simple for you guys. If you're able to have your bike at a higher staging point, you can work from here and make it a little bit easier. But hey, sometimes you have to do what you have to do. So I'm gonna rotate my tire and spray from this away on the back side of the chain. Do that for one rotation. Okay. That's a complete rotation. Guys, the chain's looking a lot better. It's looking great now. So after I've lubricated it with the chain lube, now I'm gonna got another rag here. So what I'll do is just kind of wipe some of that. My phone fell, my bad. I apologize. And what I'm going to do now is wipe some of the excess chain lube off. And like I said, it's some good stuff, so it'll kind of tack itself to the chain, so you can't actually wipe it all off. With the sealed chain and your O-rings, the lube is kind of setting itself in between the O-rings and the chain, and it'll pretty much stay there. So what I do is use another rag, and I'll rotate the tire. Just wipe a little bit of the excess chain lube off. You don't have to wipe a whole lot. Maybe 1 or 2 rotations. There we go, guys. This puppy's ready to go. The thing I'll have to do is just remove the cardboard that I have See all the gunk and extra stuff that fell off of the chain. It wasn't too dirty, but then again it was. You never want to take any chance of having a damaged chain and having to repair it. You want to try to clean it and lubricate it as much as possible. Around, like I mentioned earlier, around 500 miles or so, or each time you get caught in the rain somewhere, heaven forbid. When you get caught in the rain, it washes a lot of the lubricants off of your chain, so you want to shortly thereafter try to re-lube and re-clean your chain, to try to increase the longevity of your chain and enjoy your ride as you do it. I'm going to remove all of this that I have. Chain's looking a lot better, looking great. It's ready to go. It's a nice sunny day out here. It's around 12 o'clock or so, and I think I'm about to put it out on the road, guys. Hopefully I'll see you out there. And if you like what you see, please don't hesitate to subscribe to my channel. I'm just beginning this process of trying to educate someone and other people on YouTube concerning mechanical matters and home fix-it and repairs, automobile, bikes, whatever needs to be done. I try to DIY Wiley's fix it and repair as often as I possibly can, because nowadays you have to try to save $1 when you can. That's what it's all about. You try to go to work every day to try to make money, but at the same time you have to try to save some money when you can. And if you can DIY, if you can do it yourself within reason, then I think it's a good idea to do it. I'm not the greatest on some things, but I'll attempt to do anything. I'll do anything twice, as I always say. But guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll be back later on with some other bucket lists that I may have to do around the house or on my vehicle or on my motorcycle. But right now, I'm about to get it on the road. I'm about to let it down, put some more gas in it, and I'm about to hit the road. Thanks guys for listening, and I'll get back at you.